Welcome and good evening everyone mga kabizkarte to another night of In The Biz where we talk about yung mga bizkarte stories ng ating mga successful business owners and business leaders. And for this season, like we told you, ngayon we'll be talking about yung bizkarte mo to be successful in business. Now, last week when we launched our first episode for season 2, we talked about yung tinatawag natin ngayon let yung 6 building blocks of business, diba? So we talked about the first one that we're going to be touching actually is what we call the self, diba? So we're looking at the self, the reason, the team. Then we also look at the plan. We also look at the product, and finally yung profit or the income natin. So for today, on this episode, we will be talking about the self, 'di ba? So bakit important yung self? Now, every business leader has to look and focus and really work on these 6 building blocks of business, and with that, kailangan natin simulan with the self. Na malalaman natin bakit ganon. But for now, thank you so much everyone for joining us. Tingnan natin sino yung mga kabiskarte natin who have joined us tonight. Nakita ko dito si Idol Jessie James is here. Oh my gosh, Abby Victorino. She's a very successful entrepreneur herself. She's joining us. What's up? The very genie herself, founder of Style Genie and now also Grocer Genie. And she recently launched Go Genie. Sobrang ano yan. Sikat na startup founder yan. I've been trying to get her into the show, pero laging umaayaw. I don't know why. Bakit nga ba, Abby? But thanks for joining us, Abby. And of course, nandito din si Christina Anetzer. Thanks for joining us tonight here on In The Biz, where we talk about yung mga bizkarte stories ng ating mga successful business owners and business leaders. Now, tonight we'll be looking again, like I said, we'll be talking about yung ating focus on our business building block of the self. Particularly, we'll be talking about why it's important for our business owners and business leaders to take care of themselves first before starting to take care of the business. Bakit? Malalaman natin yan tonight from our very special bisita who is actually going to tell us more about that tonight. Who else is here? Si Pedestrian is here. She said, Season 2, Bizkarte. Thank you so much for joining us. Yan na si Abby Victorino. Guys, tulungan nyo nga ako. Convince natin to si Abby Victorino. Ang daming pwedeng i-topic niyan dahil sobrang veterano na yan. I mean, she's been in business longer than I have. Sobrang daming experience yan. Kantsawan nga natin. Abby, kailan ka, anong season ka pwedeng sumali? Dali, pa-interview ka naman. Well, thank you again so much everyone for joining us. Andito din si Emma Marie, si Life of Chi is also here. Alright, sino pa? Si Hagyo Miroldan, thanks for joining us. Okay, si Venusal Quiroz is also here. Thanks for joining us. All right, si RC si R Chris is also here. Kelly is also here. Thanks for joining us. So guys, I want to hear from you guys. A little shout out naman from you guys. Mag-share naman din kayo, no? When we think about yung taking care of yourself, what does that mean for you, no? Actually tonight when we think about taking care of ourselves, we'll be focusing more importantly on our mental health. Actually, we'll be talking about managing our stress and burnout. Now, what does that mean, di ba? I mean, lahat tayo, no matter what we're doing with our lives, no matter what career we're taking, di ba? That's really part of our experience. Hindi maiiwasan yun na nasa-stress tayo. I mean, just getting stuck in traffic along EDSA, masa-stress. Sino ba naman hindi masa-stress doon, di ba? But all the more, when we're working on something that can mean creating so much impact, diba? When there's so much responsibility that you have to deal with, stress and pressure will always be there. So kayo guys, mga kabiskarte, anong experience niyo pag-usapan natin ang stress or burnout? Have you experienced burnout? What does it mean, diba? And then malalaman natin, how should we deal with it? Kayo, how did you deal with that, diba? And tingnan natin how can we really improve how we respond to stress, diba? And how we can manage ourselves better so that we can manage our company, our business, our team. Diba? Diyan natin malalaman tonight as we talk about how we can best manage our stress and our burnout so that we can be effective leaders. So tingnan natin ano mga sinasabi ng ating mga kabiskate dito. Sabi ni Life of Chi, self-care to me is taking time off for myself, be it eating my favorite food or watching movies. Christina Anitzer says stress, food. Well, I think that's very common for all of us, right? I mean, we talk about when we're having stress, when we're feeling stressed, food ang kasagutan. Like that really helps us relax. Si Abby Victorino says pizza, di ba? Sabi ni Jesse James, Sir Raf, ganda ng audio mo na mic mo. Sa ano lang to, sa online ko lang nabili po. Bawal lang sabihin yata kung saan, pero yon. Si Pedestrian says stress eating daw. Well, I think that's very common. Pero malalaman din natin from our bisita, is that the right way to respond to stress? Maybe there's a better way. Maybe it's one way to help us cope, no, when we do stress eating. But how can we do it more effectively and more consciously so that we can be better in leading ourselves and our team and our company, diba? So what else? What does managing stress mean for you guys? Okay, dami na nagsabi stress eating. Si Life of Chi actually mentioned something different than sabi din niya movies. O diba? Ang ganda ng mga movies ngayon. Buti na lang meron tayong mga pwedeng panoorin online ngayon, even if the cinemas are unfortunately closed for now, but we can still enjoy movies at the comfort of our home. So we've heard already from our mga kabiskarte how can we effectively manage, or from our own experience, how to manage stress and avoid burnout. That's eating and also watching movies. Ngayon malalaman natin ano ba talaga ang magandang gawin natin. Sabi ni Christina Anitzer, horror movies. Agree ba kayo, guys? Di ba? Yung iba nga mga kilala ko, nasa stress pagdating sa horror movies. But actually, I agree with her. Pareho kaming mahilig sa horror movies. So, sorry guys. But okay, malalaman na natin. Kilalanin na natin ang ating bisita for tonight. He is an experienced entrepreneur and the founder of Mindfulness at Play. Oh, and by the way, he is a foreigner. Let's all welcome ang ating bisita for tonight. His name is Patrice Ordacji. Hi, Patrice.
Hello, Haf. Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Hey,
I hope you can
Patrice.
see me, you can hear me well. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Patrice. So, we really wanted to understand that now when we're talking about, we opened the show and really looking at the concept of stress and burnout. But before we jump right into the topic, I really want to know your story. I mean, even very quickly, what your business, your company, it's called Mindfulness at Play. What's that about, and what led you to start that company?
So my partner and I, we created this small agency about mid 2017, and at the time, it's kind of a natural. For us, it's kind of a natural project to share with as many people as possible, and it's really an extension of our own journey of being of course engaged in life and work life and being engaged in everyday life like everyone else, but also adding to that personal journey of meditation, yoga, spiritual retreats in some cases, and really getting to spending more and more quality time with ourselves on a personal level, and then starting to really understand that when we do that, when we take the time to really connect with ourselves regularly and through different kinds of practices or intentions, and then actually our life really grows and expands, and so it really began with that intention. And of course, the idea was to because we all live, most of us at least live in Manila or in the Philippines or in some of the cities that are often very stressful and challenging. And actually, I think it was in 2017 that Manila was ranked, unfortunately, among the 10 most stressful cities. And then there's another issue that we are also looking at and we want to help as well is the increasing mental health crisis that's happening. And the interesting fact of that is that it's happening, of course, not just in the Philippines, but it's happening worldwide. But Filipinos are usually very, joyful and cheerful, but they're also more and more affected, and it's happening to younger and younger people. So for me and for my partner, it's a real issue that we have to all look at.
That is true. I mean, the fact that the last thing that you said, that the mental health is becoming a problem for even younger people right now. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm still in my 20s, but I've had my share of that mental health bouts already. I mean, with all the pressure that we're going on. Maybe let's talk about that right now. Now, what is stress really? And when we think of burnout, or how can we start, or how can we begin to tell that we're actually starting to experience symptoms of burnout?
yeah.
What's it like?
So of course, I did not invent them, but I'll share also with you afterwards for the listeners. If you have some links that are shared with the audience, I'll send you an excellent practical guide that was created by the World Health Organization. And it's something that is probably one of the best compilation of really deeper understanding of what stress is, how it manifests in all of us, in different symptoms and different sensations and feelings and emotional level, mental level, physical level, and of course how to really deal with it very effectively. And for us, using mindfulness is a wonderful approach to really not just start noticing that people know that I'm experiencing stress, but also deciding to do something about it and lowering it. Um,
Yeah, and when we think of burnout now, I mean, no matter what level of work we might be doing, I mean, we all experience work and pressure very differently, and it could be a function of many things, right? It could be a function of the environment that we work in, the difficulty of the work that we do, and even the people that we work with, right? But how can we start to tell that, okay, I might be experiencing burnout
yeah,
already? What are the warning
absolutely,
signs, Patrice?
absolutely. So to go back to your first questions, which I didn't answer fully, but stress is a very natural reaction. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, it's a wonderful, wonderful reaction that our entire body, our entire self has. So not just the mind, but also the body, and even our emotions get involved. So initially, it's really a nice protection mechanism that we all possess. And if, for example, one of us is crossing the street while maybe watching the show, which is something that, of course, we would not suggest anyone to do. And then suddenly, even unconsciously, the body, there's like a inner signal, and we kind of tilt our head and we notice that the car is coming. The mind doesn't need to get involved. The body will know exactly what to do, and it's gonna keep us safe. Um, There is a regular daily dose of stress, which is an inherent aspect of life, and this is called episodic stress, and this is something we all get to experience. So of course, it's linked to the everyday life. It's linked to personal life, professional life, relationships, projects. It can be, of course, health related, combination of, so of course, of finance, of work, personal life again. And this is very normal, and actually the body has the capacity, if it's just a small dose, and we have these small doses throughout the day, and some days, of course, are better and less stressful than others, luckily. Otherwise, it would be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Then our body, even our mind, just know how to process it, and we actually clear it regularly. But when we start accumulating, because the real issue with stress, there's even a good stress, positive stress that we all get to experience, of course, throughout different, all kinds of experiences. like the excitement of again of personal life or professional life and achievements and successes and good news. So this is qualified as good stress. The one we want to look at is the one that keeps on keeping us so stressed out all the time that we are actually noticing that some of the symptoms are we are feeling, for example, more and more drained. We're noticing that we're becoming more and more reactive, more and more maybe aggressive, more and more angry. We're losing patience more easily. Our body is a very important actually aspect of noticing if I'm holding a lot of stress is, and I'll share with you, for example, so who here in the audience has ever felt regular headaches, neck and shoulder
Uh,
pain, not feeling very hungry. So someone was saying, comfort food, I get that, but often when there's so much stress, sometimes that it's even blocking our eating patterns. I don't know if some of you noticed, or it's modifying them. Lump in the throat, heavy chest, tight muscles, upset stomach, back pains. So I don't know. It would be interesting in the audience who has ever felt some of these physical symptoms. Do
we're seeing
you
that
do you
actually from
recognize
our
that?
audience here. K. Kroger says, and Life of Chi, they said they experienced that. Plus, Tech D is also saying they experienced that tight muscles always. Oh my gosh, Patrice, when you were saying all that, I was just checking the list all throughout. I mean, I really experienced all of that. Di ba, guys? I mean, ang sakit-sakit naman every now and then, biglang sakit ng ulo, lack of hunger. Like we're supposed to, we just realized we missed lunch. Oh my gosh, I've lost count how many times I've missed lunch because of the stress of dealing with deadlines and whatever things that I have to finish. Right? I mean, all that pressure. Christina Anitzerk said that she checked all the boxes. I think we've all had our share of all of these symptoms of
Uh,
burnout, diba? And I love what you said. It's actually very natural. You know, guys, actually, totoo yun. It's very natural kasi I even saw this documentary before where they said stress is actually a function of our survival instincts of how the body is
yeah,
programmed to threats, right, to external threats. I mean, the yung initial response natin is really just fight, flight, or freeze. And that's pretty much what happens when we're stressed. Either we fight, we flight, or we fly away, we run away, di ba? Tinatakasan natin yung stress natin, or nakikipag-away tayo, di ba? These are bad manifestations of stress, or we just freeze, di ba? Naninigas tayo, di natin alam ang gagawin natin, di ba? And it's very, very natural, but in order for us to deal with that, di ba? Unang-una kailangan natin ma-recognize, malaman may problema, there's stress, we're experiencing burnout. All right. So thanks for sharing that with us, Patrice. Now let's look at that perspective now of business owners, right, and business leaders. You've had your plethora of clients in business who have experienced that already, right? Now, when we think especially of business owners and business leaders, it's very, very common, especially for business owners, to be very very passionate about what they do. I mean, I can think of a lot of names already, one of which of our guests that are here is Christina Anitzerk and also Jesse James. These are very passionate people, very passionate with what they do. But very interesting, when we think of passion, it's often related to like a burning passion, right? There's a flame, di ba? Yung nag-aalab na passion, right? Di ba, guys? But then there's also burnout. So why is there that correlation, right, Patrice? We can have that burning passion, but how do we make sure that we don't end up burning out? Now, what's the relationship there,
mm,
especially for business
yeah.
owners?
Absolutely, and it's really a fine line. So first of all, of course, for all of you in the audience who have that kind of passion and you're living it, congratulations, because not everyone has that. And it means that you're really in alignment with what you're supposed to do right now in your life. Um, the what is really beneficial is to constantly, and this is also something we offer in the very beginning of all our trainings, is we really invite people to slow down regularly. We
Mm-mm.
really invite people throughout the day to slow down, literally stop, take a breath, 2 or 3 breaths for a few seconds, and even close their eyes and start checking in. And the idea is to be not so much in the headspace, like, continuing to be very analytical and very mental and just playing out the different stories or the different reasons why you may be experiencing stress. But the idea is really more to actually start reconnecting with your body and noticing as well in terms of sensations, how the stress, first of all, are you noticing on a scale of 0 to 10? And often, it's going to be a joke. Oh, I'm at 10, I'm at 11, oh, la, la, I'm all the time at 8, 9. That's funny a little bit, but when people are so much in these very high levels and they are at least already acknowledging it more and more, then actually what happens is that they realize that it's also about time to do something about it. And burnout, we all have experienced it more or less. It really manifests, of course, in many ways, but some of them are very obvious. When you're so drained out, when you're so edgy, when you cannot sleep properly anymore, which is probably one of the most important activities of the day, is to make sure that you get to sleep well. And I know it might sound strange because some of you are again so passionate and connected all the time and engaged, but you need to take breaks. Everyone
Mm-mm.
needs to unplug. And this is going to be my biggest message tonight. You need to unplug from the noise, the external noise, and all the commitments and engagement that are external. And you need to spend more quality time, quiet time, through different kinds of practices. And if some of you are game, we can try out 1 or 2 nice practices towards the middle, the end of our time together. But you need to really have and exercising is absolutely key. But first, we need to acknowledge that we are experiencing stress, and we need to be very kind about it. That means whenever we're noticing that maybe because I'm so stressed out that I'm noticing that I'm reacting in a harsh way, or I'm not available anymore to others because I'm always used to being here for others, but now I'm so stressed out and I'm so tired and I'm so drained and burned out that actually I don't even enjoy being here for others for a while. It's fine. It's very healthy. If you're able to notice that for yourselves without actually adding even more burden and even more unnecessary stress, wow, you've already made a big step already. So
That is true.
recognizing it and acknowledging it, very important. First step.
Okay, so that's right. That is very true, guys. Narinig na natin yun. Very important first step is we have to recognize it. Dapat malaman natin, ma-realize natin. Let's be mindful of these telltale signs, di ba? Yung mga warning signs na nasistress na tayo. Di ba? That there's something wrong in how we're responding to the pressures around us and the things that we need to do, the responsibilities. And then we act on it, di ba? So, ang very interesting actually Patrice mentioned that maybe we can try that. I want to hear from our audience, ang ating mga kabiskarte. Guys, do you want to experience it for yourselves? How to best manage that? How to best respond, 'di ba? Even this will be a quick exercise. Gusto ba natin ma-experience 'yon? Baka send kayo naman ng halo-halo kung gusto niyo maka-experience ng mga exercise natin so that we can be mindful and better respond to stress whenever and wherever we start realizing that we are already experiencing it. So, who wants to experience that, guys? Because, it's very important. Also, sabi nga din ni Patrice, we have to always learn to disconnect. I mean, what does that mean for you guys, di ba? What does disconnecting mean? Di ba? Sabi niya, everyone needs a break. Everyone needs to unplug. Para sa inyo guys, what does disconnecting or unplugging mean? 'Di ba? Kasi nagpadala ng halo-halo si Life of Chi. Ako gusto niya nagpadala na siyang dalawa pati si Plustek. Thank you so much. Sabi ni Life of Chi, the first step is acknowledging that there is a problem. That is very true. First thing is about really realizing this and even not running away from it, but we have to recognize and acknowledge that there's something wrong. That's something that we need to deal with. Diba? We have to look at what the problem is before we can actually solve it. Diba? So, totoo yan talaga. Salamat, Life of Chi. How about you guys? What does disconnecting mean? What does unplugging mean? Ano ibig sabihin nun para sa inyo? And what do you guys do to unplug? What do you guys do to take a break? And, you know, gusto ba natin maka-experience nun? Maybe we can start an exercise, a very quick one, on what it means to really unplug and disconnect, and actually disconnect to reconnect with ourselves, right? So why don't you send a halo-halo to say if you really want to experience that tonight here on In The Biz with the guidance of our expert, our good friend here, si Patrice Ordacji. What do you guys think? Do you want to experience that tonight? Let's find out. But going back to that, right, Patrice, when we think again about that concept of business owners, very why do you think, or what did you observe from your clients especially, why is it very common for business owners to find themselves burnt out?
Because they are very naturally big givers, and often they are not comfortable, or they think they don't have the time to receive as well.
Mm-mm. Yes, that's true. I mean, we as business owners, business leaders, we tend to find ourselves really, it's like we feel like we carry the burden of the whole company or even bear the burden of the world, and that can be very tiring. I mean, that's very dangerous as well, right? What are the dangers of that, Patrice?
Uh, all just like of course, naturally in business, but also in life. Then what happens if the stress level is not properly acknowledged and managed, and it continues on building up? Then it's going to start actually affecting your values, and it's going to start affecting your level of happiness, your genuine capacity to be present for others. It's going to greatly affect, of course, mental health. So it's going to affect your clarity, your resilience, your capacity to also take decisions, with that necessary bigger picture and distance that is so beneficial when you're leading others. It's going to be harder to not to be passionate, or that's not the right word. It's going to be harder to not take things personally,
Oh
and that is
yes.
also, yeah, that is a big issue also for people leading others. And I know it's something that I can easily have. So if I'm very stressed and I'm managing actually other people, which is not the case for the time being, I'm not sure it would be very compatible with being a good leader, even though this goes really against my deepest values of really caring for others, and being as respectful as possible with everyone, and making sure that I'm, behaving the same way that I would like them to also behave with me. Um,
That is true. I mean, Life of Chi here just said plus one on that. I totally experienced that 3 years ago when I got burned out from my previous work. Kayo guys, did you experience that? Na parang you find yourself being very irritable, diba? Ang daling mapikon, ang daling mainis, or you tend to take things personally even if they're not really meant to be personal. You feel attacked, you feel hashtag triggered, di ba? Sino naka-experience na nun, di ba? I mean, when the stress really starts to kick in, di ba? We find ourselves very easily triggered, and the response can, again, fight, flight, or freeze, di ba? How do you guys often find yourselves responding to the stress, di ba? I mean, iba-iba tayo na mga ano, pero yun talaga yung mga experience natin. No matter what we do, diba? No matter what season in life we might be in, there are always different forms and sizes ng stress na nararamdaman natin. So kayo guys, gusto nyo ba maka-experience how we can actually best manage yung ating stress and burnout? Why don't you just message on the comment section down here below on Kumu, 'di ba? Just say, type in game. Game ba tayo? Game, are you game to start to experience that right now tonight? Maka-experience tayo. How can we really disconnect to reconnect with ourselves and really take care of ourselves? Because guys, this is something that we don't just have to do once, pero even better if we can do it as a regular exercise. We can actually apply it to our own lives daily, especially when we go to work, especially whether we're going to the office or when we're working from home. Oh my gosh, I mean, working from home has its own forms of stress, right? Patrice, have you experienced stress because of working from home or from your clients, right?
Yes, of course.
I mean, so guys, are you game? G na ba? Why don't you say G on the comment section if you're game to experience it firsthand tonight? Kung matatry na natin, mas ma-experience na natin how to take care of ourselves, how we can experience mindfulness at play. All right, let me see the comment section. Okay, Life of Chi says Gina Gina. Also, Plus Tech D says GGG. All right. C Plus Network. Oh, they said, let's do this, guys. All right. So, uh, and pedestrian says, let go. All right. It's time to experience that right now with the help of Patrice. Patrice, why don't you lead us on how we can go
Yeah,
through
with
that
pleasure.
right now?
So there's a very simple technique that is, I'm going to just give you a technique and we'll experience also a short practice because I would like to offer you. But there's a very simple technique that's called stop. So it's only 1 minute. So the idea is S, of course, means stop. T, take a breath. That means during a few seconds, you're going to take two, three nice deep breaths. And
Mm-mm.
this really applies after, for example, experiencing a lot of stress or suddenly something that was very intense. You need to stop. So stop, take a break, take a breath. As you have your eyes closed and you're, breathing in and out, you're also, because your eyes are closed and it's kind of a good way to go inside, to connect within. Then you start observing what's going on. And again, we're not falling into the story or the narrative, but start, for example, observing your mind. Notice your body. Maybe suddenly you're noticing that your body is aching or shaking or feels very constricted, very hard, and you were not noticing it before, or you just took it for granted. And that is something also that needs to be more and more, taken care of. And then, of course, you proceed. The P is for proceed. Once you've taken that kind of short break, 1 minute, stop, then naturally you continue. And you might notice that the more you engage into this kind of practice and the exercise we'll do afterwards, that it's going to give you actually more and more, you're going to build resilience. And it's going to give you also the necessary space sometimes to not react immediately, but to process also what you are experiencing. First of all, to acknowledge it and and it is and meaning that you are making it very valid for you. So you're not, brushing it away or putting it under, cleaning it under the carpet, the rug. I don't know the exact expression, but pretending that it's not here. So because we are, it's very healthy to be human beings, even as leaders. It's very healthy to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have to be vulnerable with the entire, planet and share on social media all the time, all our terrible things in life. No, but we can start building more and more a quality relationship with ourselves. And this is also what we invite participants to do. So connect with yourself often, take a break, and breathe. And what I would like to offer you as a practice, if everyone's okay, it's going to take 2, 3 minutes. I'm going to invite you to make sure if you're sitting on a chair, make sure that you're sitting upright. just to make sure that your energy and your capacity to breathe, everything is going to be fully open and your energy is really flowing well along the spine. And then place one of your hand of your choice over your heart. Close your eyes. And if you don't have a cold, if your nose is not obstructed, then I'm going to invite you to switch to what is called abdominal breathing. So every time you're taking a break from now on, you're going to start breathing through the nose, in and out, very deeply. Take your time. Don't rush it. And we'll do this just for 2 minutes. And if you do this regularly, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, before sleeping, 10 minutes, in the morning, every hour, every 2 hours, it's going to transform your life. And you'll notice that very naturally, you're going to start building more and more resilience and capacity to actually handle stress without pretending, without making without faking it, but you're going to feel actually stronger and better and better. So this is a wonderful practice that I would like to offer you. So place your hand over your heart, close your eyes, and let's switch to abdominal breathing. So what I mean by that is take your time to fill up your lungs fully with air and especially oxygen. So whether it takes 3 seconds for you, might be a bit fast, but at first it's good. Maybe 4, maybe 5, or if you're used to this, it's going to be a little bit more. Whatever it takes for you, take your own time, fill up your lungs fully, and breathe out through the nose. Use the nose, only the nose when you're doing this kind of breathing, abdominal breathing. So let's do this for a little less than 2 minutes now. And also feel the effect of having your hand over your heart as you continue to focus on your breathing. So as you continue to do this for the next minute, I'll quickly share. This form of breathing is the most optimal, natural way of breathing. So breathing through the nose, at least 3, 4, 5 seconds, filling our lungs fully, and breathing out through the nose, exhaling, same amount of time. So find that rhythm, do this often, practice it, and you'll notice that the more you practice, actually, the more your body, and especially even your mind, will want this because the effects are amazing and they've been now very well studied by science, by medical centers. So this is a great stress reliever. This is a great natural immune booster, this way of breathing. This is amazing to calm the mind, actually to help the mind start kind of decluttering, just like a good night's sleep or a good nap. And this will greatly also help in actually bringing more oxygen to your brain, which consumes at least 25% of the oxygen we breathe in through the day. So you need to breathe really well. And if you're honest with yourself and you do this practice often, you'll notice that whenever you place your hand, for example, on your chest, especially after a stressful moment or you're tired, you worked a lot, you'll notice that you're not breathing properly. So you'll notice that you're just, filling up your lungs just at the top of the lungs, maybe 25%, 50% of the capacity. You're breathing fast. You're always out of air, kind of catching your breath. So look at that and switch to abdominal breathing throughout the day, every hour, every 2 hours. So before you open your eyes, just continue to breathe. Keep this kind of breathing pattern as we continue our time together. And more importantly, every time you do an exercise, notice what happens. Again, uh, when you're looking at, when you're feeling, examining, observing your head, in your body, have you noticed some changes already? Maybe the emotional roller coaster is actually much more quiet and more even. So whatever happens, really acknowledge, especially the small changes, not just only the big ones, but also the small changes. So thank you. Open your eyes and welcome back. I
Awesome.
hope you
Thank
enjoyed
you
it.
for that one. That's a great exercise that we just did. That was very refreshing. And I was reading the comments just now. We have a lot of our mga kabiskarte who actually enjoyed that. Let's see what they have to say here. Life of Chi says, love this. Definitely practicing it moving forward. Si Pedestrian says, so simple but such a big impact. Life of Chi also says, this exercise reminds me of how we are taught to breathe when practicing yoga. Oh, that's actually a good
Yeah.
exercise too, right? I mean, sino dito mga nag-yoga din, di ba? Who else has tried yoga or is actually practicing yoga? That's a really great way to manage our stress, di ba? Ano pa, sabi din dito, kaka-relax, sakto, Monday ngayon. Oh my gosh, yes guys, that's so true. Perfect way to start the week, di ba? Sabi ni Pedestrian, good way to start our week. It's a Monday. We don't want to start the week stressed, but why? Oh wow, thank you for that, lechon gets. I mean, oh, looks like she really enjoyed that exercise we did because she sent over
Nice.
a lechon. Thanks for that, gets. Yeah, so that's right. I mean, that was very refreshing, di ba? Ang galing-galing talaga, sabi din ni Gets. Thanks for that, Gets. And that's very true, no? We have a lot of we going through life, all these challenges, all these tasks that we need to fulfill, right? It takes a lot of intention for us to actually stop, di ba? To really stop, take time for ourselves and observe and really perceive these things that we might be taking for granted, di ba? And it, like, if you guys remember from last week's episode, one of the my bizcard tips to you guys is we have to be intentional about the things that we do. Oy, thanks for that. Wow,
Yes.
Haruaki. Di ba? We have to be intentional with the things that we do. And that also includes taking care of ourselves, di ba? We have to be
Yeah.
intentional about taking time for ourselves, taking time to pause and reflect and really reconnect with ourselves. That really takes a level of intentionality because who else can really take care of us except ourselves? We gotta learn to take care of
Absolutely.
ourselves, right? So going back to the topic now, Patrice, right? When we think of that about managing stress day to day, right? Now, you already mentioned about how people can tend to be very irritable and we lose that level of empathy, right? Um, what does that mean usually, or what are the actual concrete impacts that you've seen from different people when they experience these things, when they are unable to manage their stress effectively? What did you see from your clients before?
Um, I'm not so sure I can really share from clients in the sense that we don't really ask people to open up to that level because we're not
Or
doing
maybe
any
from your
kind
own
of counseling.
experience?
Maybe from personal experience, from also noticing people. Basically, we're losing. Because we are so much hit and because we're so much drained and sometimes because our nervous system is so fired up and because it has been accumulating, then yes, we're losing that capacity to be more patient and kind and understanding, especially with others. And what I've noticed as well is that the often a sign is going to be the for some, and at least for me, it's going to be the case. I would gladly withdraw even more from interactions, from society,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm super stressed out, and because it's like a monster. And the problem is, if we keep on feeding the monster, then the mind, especially the mind, that is very that needs to be managed actually, because we often falsely identify ourselves only with our minds, but we forget that we are way more complex and we have way more. We don't. We have different forms of intelligence, and they're all very valid, like the heart intelligence, like the body intelligence, like emotional intelligence, like, of course, the mental intelligence. But if we are always relying on the mind, which is itself, for example, during certain periods, very stressed out and completely out of control and overwhelmed and feels, under duress, then we're not gonna get some good answers from the mind. So we need to help actually our mind, and we need to slow it down. Among the suggestions that I really have for everyone, you absolutely need to exercise on a daily basis. And it
Mm-mm.
doesn't have to be some elaborate form of exercise, fitness or competition. No, it can be stretching. It can be walking. Walking is probably one of the most fabulous physical form, exercise of exercise. Definitely stretching, and the stretching can be easily done at home. So many quality videos, and you don't need a lot of space, and you can do it on the chair. You can do it, of course, on the floor, with or without a yoga mat. It doesn't have to be that elaborate. Sleeping well. For those of you who find normal that, because they have created that kind of pattern that because their mind is so stressed out that they never find solace at night, and they continue on, on binge watching Netflix, and just, just browsing endlessly, and you need to unplug, especially at
Yes,
night,
that's true.
when everything that you did you was is done, professionally, personally, distractions, entertainment, when everything is done, stop feeding the mind. That mind that just never wants to stop. It's very important to
Mm-mm.
address that as well. Very, very important. So we need to slow down our minds, and one of the best activities for that is to sleep well, because we've all
That's right.
experienced that. After having a wonderful night's sleep, guess what? You wake up in the morning, wow, you have way more ideas. You're way more effective. And it's gonna last, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. And you also need to know yourself. That means don't compare yourself always to the people who are, supposedly, working very effectively 14 hours. That's BS. That's absolute BS. It doesn't work like that. Everyone gets drained out. So take good care of yourself, very important. And know your own limits. And actually, develop also a practice. For example, I would highly suggest, if you are really looking at mental health, and strengthening your mind, and making it more and more effective, and also quieter, and stronger, start a meditation practice, because now there's enough body of research, thousands and thousands of studies, again, from medical centers, universities, companies around the world, and of course very ancient traditions since thousands of years all across the planet.
Mm-mm.
Meditation is the best form of exercise for the mind.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Patrice. And you're very right. Now we live in a very fast-paced life, and it's very common to find ourselves going trying to catch up, right? Especially now, guys, we're living in what's known as a hyper VUCA world, diba? It's very
Yeah.
volatile, uncertain. There's a lot of complexity and ambiguity. No, but it really takes a level of intentionality that we pause, slow down, and really reconnect with ourselves. I'm actually very guilty with when you were talking about making sure we have quality of sleep. Oh my gosh, guys, lagi akong puyat. I gotta work on that myself. Real confession right here. Let's hear from our audience. Let's see who's joining us here. Oh, Patricia B. Heason, the CEO of Plus Network, is here. Hi, Miss Patricia, and belated happy birthday to Miss Patricia, who has joined us just now. We also have Yolanda Soria Ismael is also here. Gets thanks for that lechon, right? Life of Chi says, super love this episode. Great reminder to slow down and take time for myself. That is so true, guys. So we gotta always remember that we have to take care of ourselves, right? So and that's really because, as especially when we're leading our own companies, when we're leading people, we have to be mindful of that, because how we take care of ourselves would also impact others. It's Ayana is here also. She has her own show, and we'll be catching up more about that on Thursday. But thanks for joining. It's Ayana. She's in the house. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. It's Ayana. Woo! All right. So before we close this up, anything you'd like to really share with our audience, with our kabizkarte here on the show, Patrice?
So we have two pillars in our activities, and the first one is self-care. And the idea, indeed, and you use that analogy very well, very good analogy before we began the show. Uh, if your cup is always full and you never empty that cup and it's always full, how can you refill it? And it's absolutely key. So if you are among the people who have taken on roles in professional and personal life to take good care of others, and of course to have also others, working along your side to also make you and your project more successful, that's absolutely key because it's a two-way relationship. You need to also begin by taking good care of yourself. And by doing so, you will notice that actually you will be less and less dependent and less waiting for others to be here for you or to help you or and actually this will come very naturally because the more you're finding balance by yourself, the more actually people will feel it and they will very gladly support you and they will gladly actually open up to you and you'll be even more actually available to help them. So self-care is absolutely essential. So if you are spending so many hours taking care of others, you need to stop making excuses not to take better care of yourself. That's not going to work and it's absolutely key. So
That
take good
is
care of yourself.
all right, thank you so much for that, Patrice. So, guys, you've heard it yourselves, diba? Yan ang ating Bizcar tip of the night. It's really take care of yourself. Sabi nga ni Life of Chi, take care of yourself so you can take care of others. That is so true. So, you gotta be very, very intentional about it. You be very mindful about it. Now, that's our first Bizcar tip. Be mindful about it. Acknowledge when you're starting to experience stress or burnout, and then intentionally is discard tip number two, intentionally slow down, take a break, disconnect, diba? Unplug and start to refresh your mind. And of course, number three, and I'm telling this to myself as well, we gotta get enough rest, enough sleep,
Yeah.
so that we can be more productive, we can be more creative, and we can be more effective in what we do. Sabi nga ni Pedestrian, this is so refreshing. Thank you so much for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Pedestrian. And of course, Patrice, thank you so much for being
Thank you,
our
Raf. Thank you,
visita
everyone.
tonight. Thank you, Patrice. All right, so guys, you've already heard tonight that ang ating alis stress sa business, ang ating bizkarte really is about taking care of ourselves. And that's why actually, if you're familiar with one of the well-known classic leader writers or authors in business, ano ba? Si John Maxwell, he always tells us about the law of the lid. Ano yung law of the lid? Sinasabi niya, law of the lid, meaning the leader becomes the lid of every company. The organization, the company can only go as far as the leader can go. So that's why it's very important for us to take care of ourselves. Otherwise, pag tayo as leaders ay bumagsak, talagang babagsak, maapektuhan lahat ng mga taong nasa ating organization. So take care of yourselves, be mindful of that, and take a break, unplug, disconnect, and also have enough rest, right? The right amount of rest so that we can really have that right balance. All right. So sabi din Life of Chi, by Netflix binging moments. Oh yes, that's very painful, but it might actually be more refreshing, diba? So kayo guys, what else have you learned tonight, diba? How can you, what do you think now? What are you gonna be doing? These practical things, will you be applying these things that we've learned tonight, diba? Yung ating breathing exercise, or really that stop exercise, so that we can really take care for of ourselves, diba? Or do you guys have any questions? Maybe we could also answer those questions para ano natin, matanong pa natin si Patrice if you won't have any questions about what it means to really take care of ourselves. What do you guys think? All right? Sige, ang tahimik na atin, kung mukhang masyadong na-relax yata ang ating mga kabiskarte tonight. But thank you so much everyone for joining us. Now, before we end this episode, of course, we want to hear from you guys. So tell us what other topics you'd like to hear for our next episodes. Now, also follow us on Plus Network on all social media channels para updated kayo sa mga exciting na kaganapan, all our exciting shows especially. Now, bukas, abangan ang pagbabalik ng Pick a Side with Chuck Araneta, AL Banal, and Juan Banal. Same time, same place here on the Plus Network channel on Kumu. Now, if you love movies like me, tune in to The Real Stuff with Ayana Perlas. I'm not sure if she's still here. I think she's still here. Diba? Ayana Perlas, are you here? It's Ayana. She was here earlier. But thanks for joining us, and you can catch her on Thursday night, 8 p.m. here on the Plus Network channel on Kumu for The Real Stuff. And on Friday, sasamahan naman tayo ni Kate Alvarez to travel virtually. All right, so yan ang ating mga Plus Network shows here on the Plus Network channel on Kumu. That's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday every 8 p.m. for every aspect of life to enjoy. So we'll see you until next week. Monday again, that's In The Biz, Mondays, 8 p.m. We'll be talking more again about the self, but next time we'll be talking about how can we continuously grow as business leaders, and on whatever career we might be pursuing, how can we continuously grow and intentionally grow and improve ourselves. So abangan natin yan. We'll see you again Monday, 8 p.m. for In The Biz, where we talk about mga bizkarte stories of successful business owners and business leaders, and more importantly, anong bizkarte mo to be successful in business. Till then, let's continue to build more meaningful relationships, and let's be more and be plus on Kumu. See you then.